So we've got 1 week to go before we push the building. Right now, the structure is fully supported 100% on the new hydraulic bearings, and we're about to cut away the foundations below. So with the building supported on the 14 hydraulic bearings, what we're checking is that the building stays level as we cut or wire saw the building from its foundation.
Right, okay, so these are the bearings. There's 14 of these. They're all the same. They consist of 2 flat jacks, which are these. They've got a stroke of 25 mil, so when they inflate, they level with that. And that's the amount of travel we've got on all the bearings, 50 mil. So there's 2 of those in there, and then an 80 mil steel block, and then there's a Teflon pad, and that's going to sit on grease and slide along the stainless steel plate here, and an 8 mil plate there with a concrete beam. So last night we were here to take the weight of the building on the bearings and test them. We did that by loading them up to maximum 120% and then dropped them down, made sure there were no leaks around the transducers, any of the joins. Then the last thing we did was take the weight of the bearings in this area here, took them up to the weight required to hold the building, so it didn't drop or raise or do anything funny when we cut the walls. And the concrete cutters moved in this morning and cut the walls around this area, and then the next step will be to do the same on the other side of the building.
So the initial cut is only 10 mil separation of the building from its foundations, and once we're happy that the building is stable and not moving down, the bearings are constant pressure, we'll then demolish the walls in a couple of days' time. The construction of the runway beams is complete as far as the concrete is concerned, but what we've been doing now is we've done a grout topping to get a precise level on the top, and we're currently installing steel plates and then putting a nice skim of stainless steel on top of that for the bearings to slide along. We've got 1 week to go. We've overcome a couple of small technical glitches, but we're on target for the 31st.
Well, we've just completed our first full stroke with the pushing rams. Each stroke is about 1.8 metres, but in fact we've now moved about 2.5 metres overall. So it's a slow start, as we anticipated really. There's always a few teething issues. We want to make sure that the pressures are correct and it's behaving as we thought. It did take a little bit more pushing force than what we thought to get it moving, because the building has been sitting on the sliding bearings for 2 or 3 weeks now. But once we were over that, it seems to be moving along reasonably constantly at a pushing force of something around 7 to 8% of the building mass. At the completion of the pushing stroke, the rams and the pushing sledges that the rams are connected to need to get readjusted and pulled forward, ready to do a new stroke. They use the hydraulic ram itself to retract, and that pulls the sledge along, ready to be fixed in place for the next stroke of the ram.
So this is the way we're monitoring the change in height of the building as we move it. So we've got about 7 points around here that we hung a bar off there by all the bearings, and we check them at the end of every stroke and in the middle of a stroke if it looks like things are going a bit weird with the pressures. So we come along here and we check the heights and we compare them to what they were before we moved the building. So we want to know how much the building is raising and lowering as we go. And if it starts raising too much, then we will probably raise them, lower the pressure in the bearing to get it closer to the original level. And that will stop any cracking, especially in the front face of the building, which is the more sensitive side. Simon, it's 9 is -2 and 12 is +1.
Right, copy each other on. 5 is quite high as well, so maybe if we take a bit out of
3 and 4. Yep. Well, I think we should put a little bit into 4. Let's put 200 off 5. Yeah, let's put 500 into 4.
All right.
It has been a big day here. The building has moved a little bit slower than we had hoped, but this building is kept stable. We've kept the levels constant and the guys have worked really well. So by the end of tomorrow, we should be all the way there.
Here we are on the morning of the second day of the move. The weather seems to be kind to us today. And the patient survived the night quite well. By that I mean that it didn't settle in any way, so that we were monitoring that to make sure that the ground wasn't subsiding at any particular rate, so that's good. Now we've already completed 2 pushes, so we moved about 3.5 metres this morning, and we're quietly confident that we'll move a little bit quicker today.
Yeah, going good. Yeah, no, very satisfying to see it move. You know, eventually after all the work that's led up to it. No, it's good.
Yes, I am enjoying it. It's great. It's good. It's good to see the building move, and it's safely done too.
Okay, well of course now we are nearing the end. We've only got about 2.5 pushes to go, and look, today has been very smooth. We've been very happy with the way it's going. I'm delighted. The guys have worked really hard, and you know, it won't be long till we're finished. So from an engineering point of view, it's been very satisfying. It's really performed right up to expectation, and we're happy to see it come to conclusion. Of course, we've got to come back in 6 months' time and do it all over again.
I'm very happy how it's gone today. The building's finally in its position, and the boys, I'm just stoked. It's brilliant.